Hello, everyone. Welcome to Straight Talk on Social Media. This is Ian Desher, Director of Nonprofit Marketing, now my new title from Pivot Group. And I am here to talk to you about things to expect in 2014. This is every first webinar of the year. This is probably now my fourth year of doing one of these webinars in January, where I talk about what to expect in the year ahead, in the year to come. So this year, just talking a little bit about, what some of the trends might be and that sort of thing, and what we might expect to see. So talking about that in a minute, but first I wanted to go ahead and tell you about some of the news in social media from the last few weeks here. First of all, an interesting article where Eric Schmidt, the CEO of Google, was basically admitting the fact that social media was one of the things that Google really neglected early on, much to their sort of dismay, and they've been sort of playing catch up ever since. It was interesting just to hear them sort of owning up to the fact that yes, we did neglect social, and we did not make as strong of a play as we could have, and so now Facebook, Twitter, these other services are really big competition to Google in various ways. Not so much in terms of search, but in other ways, in terms of the amount of traffic that they're getting and that sort of thing. So interesting to hear that, and interesting, to see how they are sort of trying to make up for that, as you've heard me say on these webinars, sort of in many ways trying to force people into using Google Plus more, and so interesting to see how they're trying to make up for lost time. And a notice came out. If you have a Gmail account, you may have gotten one of these yesterday. I did, and then I saw a couple articles about it this morning. Google has decided that you no longer have to have a person's email address to send them an email through Gmail. You just have to have them in your Google Plus circles. So and that means even if it's somebody who has not necessarily acknowledged you, you can go ahead and follow them on Google Plus, and then you can in Gmail send them a message to their Google Plus account, and it's going to go directly to their inbox in Gmail. And so users are already sort of protesting this, saying somebody should have to be able to find my email address in order to send me an email, as opposed to just finding me on Google Plus. It'll be interesting to see how this, how this plays out. It's an interesting move. Again, sort of another move that Google is making to try to put an emphasis on Google Plus and its benefits. But it'll be interesting to see if that's sort of a step too far, letting people send emails directly to anyone they can find on Google Plus. So it'd be interesting to see how this plays out over the next few weeks here. Twitter's stock is taking a little hit. There's some new analysis coming out that is saying that it really sort of has shot up too quickly, and there's not necessarily as much value there as there should be. And so it's on the last couple weeks here, it's been seeing a pretty sharp decline as that report has come out. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Its stock overall, I would say overall it's been a more successful launch in terms of their public offering than Facebook's was, where Facebook sort of had an immediate flop. Twitter has been showing a good upward trend for a while, but now in just these last couple of weeks, starting to see it fall. So it'll be interesting to see whether these social media networks do have as publicly traded companies, whether they are viable in that realm. But it's interesting for me to read this report from these last couple of weeks. And then the big news that just came out today, Facebook has decided to do away with their sponsored stories. What a sponsored story is basically, unless you have your privacy settings set correctly, you can sort of see an illustration here, which I found online, of what a sponsored story is. Somebody posts something, a status, and then they talk about where they were and who they were with, and that gets turned into a sponsored story. So when Starbucks, because Starbucks has been tagged by Jessica, Starbucks then is paying for a sponsored story, and so now you can see that her ad has been turned in. I'm sorry, her status has been turned into an ad, a sponsored story ad. There was a lot of Facebook has been taken to court over this, and it's ultimately this court case that has made them decide to do away with sponsored stories. But basically, users up in arms, even though this is in Facebook's, you know, terms and conditions and that sort of thing that we all agree to when we join Facebook. Still, a lot of users protesting that this is, an illegal use of their representation of their pictures and that sort of thing and their names. And so Facebook has finally decided, okay, we're just going to do away with this. I think a good move for Facebook, showing that it can in fact occasionally listen to criticisms about privacy concerns and that sort of thing. So. And not, I think, necessarily a big loss in terms of what's offered from a marketing point of view. Honestly, sponsored stories have always seemed a little creepy to me as a Facebook user, knowing that a company is sort of, using somebody's status that they wrote because they like that company, never quite seemed right to me. So I don't think you lose a lot here as a company trying to advertise through Facebook. So that's the news. And now I want to talk about the focus, which again is what to expect in 2014. I have 10 things that I want to talk about. And basically what I did was, around this time of year, you can find all sorts of articles online about, social media predictions for 2014 or for the new year, things like that. And so what I did was went through some of these articles and found the ones that I thought were most compelling or most likely, or for some reason, caught my eye. In certain cases, I have actually, shown the attribution of who it was who said this because it was a unique enough thing that I only saw one person saying it. In other cases, it's something that I saw lots of people saying, or multiple people saying, or it was just something that I myself added to the list. So anyway, some things about what to expect in 2014, just so you know what the social media landscape is likely to look like in this next year. So first of all, the rise of Instagram and Snapchat. So I've talked a little bit, I've talked a fair amount about Instagram on these webinars and its importance, and how much, how popular it is becoming with younger people, particularly teens and people in their early 20s. Snapchat has a similar, a similar sort of popularity and is sort of gaining more and more. Snapchat, if you don't know, is a service where basically you can take a short video and then you can send it to somebody, and the video expires after, I don't remember exactly what it is. It's something like a 15 seconds or a minute or something like that. But it's basically like the video. The reason their logo is a ghost is that after you've seen it, within a few seconds, it disappears. It's totally gone. You can't get it back. The big criticism of Snapchat and the big, I think, concern for all of us who have kids with Snapchat is that it is often used to send things that are inappropriate in one way or another, right? And so it's a way that people can send things through social networks, send them to their friends, and then basically make sure that it's not going to be online, for future employers to see later on. But there are some concerns there, I think. Anyway, the overall point of this is that this, especially sort of short form video. I probably could have added Vine to this list as well. But these services that are offering just really quick video snippets are becoming more and more popular. And this is where young people are interacting online, much more so than on Facebook. I read an article this week that talked about whether Snapchat could be a real contender to Facebook. Now, I don't think anybody's really worried about that right now. Facebook having more than 1 billion users and Snapchat still sort of young and on the rise. But the point is, could this be where the next generation of social media users is headed to a service like Snapchat rather than something like Facebook, which, for people who are in their teens or their early 20s is already sort of the as one commentator put it, it's already the party that your parents crashed, right? Because all of so many adults and older adults are on Facebook these days. So we'll continue to see these social networks be important. With Instagram, I think it's becoming clear how businesses can use Instagram. Snapchat, I think that the jury's still out on that one. In fact, it would be interesting to maybe to do a webinar looking at some business uses for Snapchat. So we'll think about that for a future session. Number two is social media expands into the rest of our lives. So we might more and more be sort of seeing more devices and other things that are integrated with our social networks. So TV being a prime example. Already, the way that people interact on Twitter and the statistics behind the way certain things trend when TV shows are on. So when Downton Abbey is being aired, the social media mentions of Downton Abbey rise significantly. So I think more and more we're going to see this aspect of all of our devices that are bringing us, it's our watches, it's our TVs, obviously it's our glasses if we're Google Glass users, it's that sort of thing. They're all going to be sort of tied into our social media lives themselves. And we'll see that technology developed more and more over this year. And that was Heidi Cohen was the commentator whose article I read who brought that one up. I should have also mentioned, of course, you can always ask questions if you want to. I always forget to say that, but it's always true. So you go to webinar control panel. Number three, new Facebook strategies will be needed. You heard me talk either last webinar or the webinar before that about the fact that Facebook is really more and more, and they're being very open about this, is pushing down in their algorithm. They're pushing down the amount that they are showing company page posts, the amount that they're putting those posts into individual users' news feeds. So as a company, if you post something on your page, it is now significantly less likely that Facebook is going to take that and put it into one of your likers' news feeds. And the reason for this, and again, Facebook is being explicit about this, is just that they want you to advertise more. They are sort of getting more and more insistent that you should be buying promoted posts or Facebook ads, and so I think as we start to look at this coming year and social media strategies, more and more we're going to have to think about, okay, how are Facebook ads going to be a part of that strategy, and is the ROI good enough, right? Does it make sense to be promoting our posts to make sure that the people who are our likers are seeing it? Or is that worth the cost or not? And the answer might really be that, well, it depends on what we're posting, right? If we're doing a new product announcement, yes, it's very important that all of our likers see it. If we're posting something, about something fun that happened around the office, maybe that's less important to be promoting. But I think we will all be developing new Facebook strategies in the future as Facebook takes this new course for businesses. Number four, Nick Robinson, a social media commentator, suggested that we might start seeing the development of some A/B testing tools, that social networks might actually start developing specific tools to allow marketers to do A/B testing of ads and things like that, where you are basically, trying one ad out over here and another ad out over here, and then the tools are letting you easily put both of those ads out there and easily look at the different results for the ads and tweak based on the results. So I think that's a fascinating. I put it in here because I thought it was a fascinating suggestion, and something that as social networks try to cater to businesses more and more and earn revenue, something that certainly could be a value add for businesses. So obviously, as we hear about any of these tools that are developed, we'll let you know. Number five, I saw this phrase. I saw it in an article by Jennifer Karpus, although I looked it up and it's sort of all over the place. SOLOMO, social media, which stands for social. Local is what it stood for in her ad, although here in the graphic you see it stands for location. And then mobile. Basically just the idea here being that the way that sort of computer use is moving, and the way that online entertainment is moving. It's all about social. It's all about local services. Finding things local, or location services, so things that are where you can easily find what's around you in your local area. And it's happening more and more on mobile devices. So I think as you're thinking about social media, you have to be thinking about your mobile strategy. I said that in the last webinar. Certainly, like location services, making sure that if you are a company that has retail stores or retail locations of some kind, that those are easy to find on social media, and that you've got those optimized so that the addresses are all connected to the right pages, so that basically, if somebody is on their phone and they are pulling up Facebook or Yelp or something like that to see what's nearby, they're easily going to be able to find you. So I really like this concept of Solomo social media, just to keep in mind that sort of triumvirate of things to remember when it comes to social media. Number 6, Facebook changes or Facebook fatigue sets in. So I think this is a sort of an either or moment for Facebook. I think it's possible that Facebook fatigue starts to set in more and more, both for users and for marketers. We are, with Facebook sort of forcing businesses to advertise, to have their posts seen. With users getting more and more frustrated by some of their privacy changes, and some of the changes they make to their interface, that sort of thing. I think it's possible that Facebook fatigue will start to set in some. Either that, or Facebook is going to redefine itself somehow in 2014. Is going to sort of see this trend toward the importance of visual elements, photo and video, and make their site much more geared toward those types of media than it currently is. They've done that a little bit. They've made some adjustments to their interface in the past that have sort of put more emphasis on visual content. But I think some even more sort of fundamental change to how Facebook presents itself, or what it's used for, may end up happening. Or again, we might start to see some real Facebook fatigue start to hit people. I think we'll continue to see Google Plus, and I think we'll, on its sort of, I called it an upward trudge. I started to write upward climb, but really it's more of a trudge for Google Plus, right? They are sort of fighting against, first of all, against the odds of Google Plus came out later than Facebook and Twitter, after people were already established in those social networks. It sort of became known as this thing that only tech geeks liked, and now it's having these additional issues of, Google is sort of forcing users to have Google Plus profiles, which has created this user backlash. But that said, I do think it's going to continue to be important. It's going to have more and more users. Multiple articles that I read talked about Google Plus being a serious contender as this year continues, and just taken more seriously as a social network that people are actually using and posting on regularly. So it'll be interesting to watch that. Again, if nothing else, Google Plus is an important place for companies to be, because of the fact that Google is taking Google Plus accounts into mind, or into factor when with search engine results. So if your company has a Google Plus account, you're more likely to be placed higher in the search results than a company without a Google Plus account. So again, for all these reasons, I think Google Plus will continue to rise, and it may be that this year will see us all taking our Google Plus accounts a little more seriously. Number 8, advocacy becomes your new best friend. This again was something that I saw in multiple articles, really talking about the importance of advocacy marketing, where finding your super fans, or your employees, right? Your employees who really love you as a company. Those are the people who are really going to be driving your brand on social media. They are the ones who are going to be your advocates, right? That's why we have this word. They're the ones who are going to really promote you, and word of mouth marketing is becoming more and more important through social media. You know, people, I do this all the time. When I just recently needed a piano tuner, I posted that on Facebook and got suggestions from my friends, and then called the person who had been suggested by those friends. I did that rather than do a Google search, and certainly rather than look in my yellow pages. So word of mouth marketing is becoming more and more important and more a factor as people check out their purchases, or their you know as they're thinking about purchasing something, they check it out on social media first to see what their friends say about it. Um, and so the people who are your biggest brand advocates, your customers who just love you to pieces, or your employees who love you to pieces, are going to become more important. And so taking care of those people, helping sort of, giving them special incentives, basically sort of fueling their fire for your brand, is going to continue to be and become even more important in 2014. When we had our Pivot Forward conference back in September, we had a guy from the Adidas marketing department come in and speak. And one of the things he said that stuck with me, or one of the strategies that they have that stuck with me, is really rewarding and just sort of doing special, awesome things for for teenagers who are really into Adidas products. And by doing that, basically what his point was we've made a fan for life, and this person is always going to say good things about us. They already liked us, but now that we've sort of given them some sort of special benefit, now they are totally our brand advocate, and we don't have to, they are going to do our marketing for us. So just continue to think about that, how you might reward your employees or your customers who are really your brand advocates. Number 9, also from Heidi Cohen, email is going nowhere. I thought this was a really interesting point as we talk about social media. And she didn't put it quite like that, but that was the overall gist was email is still one of the primary methods of communication and will not dwindle. Facebook tried to make a strong play, probably must have been at least a year ago at this point, to make its messages service really kind of replace email. They gave everybody Facebook.com addresses, and they really tried to push this idea that you were going to be doing all of your message checking on Facebook, and that just hasn't happened. People are still using email just as much as they ever did. Yes, obviously, text messaging is becoming a much more used means of communication as well. But email is still an important part of your overall digital marketing strategy. So it's important in the mix of all this talk about social media to not neglect email, not to forget that email marketing is still a really effective and relatively inexpensive means of marketing as well. So I thought that was a great point that Heidi made, and one that is important to remember. And the last one, you will create content or else. And what I mean by that is, again, article after article, just talking about how important content creation is. So coming up with your own photos, that you're taking your own photos that you're putting out there, creating your own little videos that you put out online through social media. You can see with the rise of Instagram, Snapchat, Vine, people who are making their own little videos. These are becoming, really popular. That's also true with Facebook. Facebook is much more likely to, put a video or a picture on people's news feeds than they are just a plain text status. So content creation becomes more and more important. And as you can think about creating unique content, even if it is, and I always say this, and I always want to stress this, it does not need to be sort of professionally handcrafted, things that have this could be on TV sort of quality video, right? It just needs to be something that's engaging or useful or interesting to people, and it can be shot on a mobile phone or on a flip camera or something like that. It really does not have to be done expensively. So when you think about content creation, don't worry that it has to be something super complicated. Just think more about what's useful to my customers, what's important to them, what are they going to find interesting and engaging, and that's going to help get you where you need to be. And so that's the things to expect in 2014. I've listed them out here in sort of more maybe more useful ways to remember them. And again, all these slides will be on our Facebook page in just a few minutes here. Thank you all so much for joining me. I hope you had a wonderful New Year's celebration. It already, to me at least, feels like the holidays are long gone and far behind us. But I am still enjoying that overall lull that comes a little bit with Christmas and New Year. So I hope you have had a good New Year, and I will see you again next month. If memory serves, and next slide will tell me, that's right. The next webinar will be on Valentine's Day. Won't that be lovely? So we'll be talking about great campaigns. I do a great campaigns webinar about every quarter or two, just to show you what people are doing out there on social media, to give us all a reminder of the great things that we can be doing. So I'll do that again next month. Dave Newstratton's next Straight Talk on Telco Marketing webinar, Wednesday the 29th at 11 o'clock. And so I hope our telecommunications clients will join us for that as well. Again, thank you for joining me. Have a great weekend. Remember to keep your media social and your talk straight.